Okay, this is Taylor Ogden with QFloors Software. In this short video, we're going to show you how QReporter, which is an add-on tool to QFloors, can be utilized for your business. If you're not using it now, it is the most popular add-on tool across our whole customer base. Most of our dealers are using it. It is probably one of the more integral tools or pieces to the workflow of our program. If you do not have QReporter, I'll show you a little bit of how your current setup would look as far as, treating an invoice or the proposal stage of a sale. Without it, when you hit this print button, there would be a little window that pops up, kind of like it does when you hit a work order, right? Where it'll show these check boxes to provide options of which detail you want to include on the proposal or on the sale or the quote for the customer and which ones you don't. You would go through and check the boxes or uncheck the boxes depending on what you want the invoice to show. It then produces from there a PDF, either prints, right, if the customer's there in front of you, or produces a PDF, which if you want to hand to the customer, great, but if you want to email it to the customer, you then have to save it as a PDF to your desktop, attach it to an outside email, and then send it away that way. And the format in which the customer proposal can look is pretty limited. It's pretty standard. With our QReporter tool, and I'll start by talking about the functions as it pertains to the sales process first, and then we can talk about more general reporting after. But with the tool, upon hitting print here, QFloors will actually show you a preview of what the proposal is going to look like for the customer right here inside of the system, without having to deal with any of those, check boxes or selecting or deselecting what you want on here. You'll pick sort of your default template that you like for the majority of your jobs, or whichever format applies to the majority of your job scenarios. You'll notice, though, that it is customizable, so you can add your own store logo onto these templates. You can determine what detail shows in the template, whether you want the quantity and price per unit to show, or maybe you want it to be more of a lump sum template or setups in case that the customer is shopping around with your measurements. You'd rather show more of a lump sum. You can determine exactly how much detail that this proposal shows or doesn't show, as well as your own terms and conditions, signature fields. So really entirely customizable, we'd say, according to your needs. And then there will be a default format, as I mentioned, for the usual case in your sales scenario, but you have this little navigator tab where you'll have your other favorite templates saved depending on your scenario. Maybe, like I mentioned, in the case that it's more of a lump sum proposal that you'd like to produce, you have that right here. Or maybe you do commercial work, retail work, and multifamily work, or some combination of these things, and you have different terms and conditions to it that apply to these different divisions of your company. Well, in that case, you can quickly grab an invoice that maybe is titled invoice-commercial or invoice-multifamily. Grab it, it reproduces the proposal just like it shows here and shows you what it looks like, but in that new format with the new terms and conditions that apply to that division of your business. And so it's a much more user-friendly way to obviously see the proposal before you send it to your customer, and then also not only, you can obviously print it from the system, but if you hit this email button, it attaches the customer email right here for you automatically, and you can send the proposal directly out of QFloors. This will link up with your regular Gmail or account or whatever you guys are using in order to send the proposal right to your customer. Now, obviously, the proposal process and sending and providing both the proposal for the customer or quote prior to closing the sale, and then also the invoice, once you're requiring or asking for payment, all of that is much easier, and that process is much easier with QReporter. But QReporter is also built to do any sort of custom reporting that you might need out of our system. Now, QFloors obviously allows you to do day-to-day reporting, and general reporting that maybe a salesperson or anyone would want to see, as we know, can be accessed right here from the main search functions on the sales screen, since we can define by report type and date ranges and salesperson and profit center, etc. And the same thing can be done on our materials screen or any other screen in our system with our filters down below, and also by changing these tabs at the top of the list window to determine what you see or don't see in your list. We also have our financial reports that are accessed from this tab up top that give more the financials for the accountant, right? AR and AP aging, profit and loss, sales tax, etc. So more common financial reports are accessed here. However, a lot of our customers will, especially the bigger the customer, the more likely this is, will want a more custom report that QFloors doesn't produce by default. In those cases, we use QReporter to produce these custom reports. You'll notice if you come down to the bottom of the reports tab, there's this QReporter option where you can pick custom reports. And now I've got this list, right, of additional custom reports that are outside of the standard QFloors system. Now, like some examples at the bottom here, we have a job profitability report, a job profitability on a bar graph type of report, or a profit and loss comparison by date ranges if you want to run a P&L to compare quarter by quarter or location by location. All of these types of reports that go a little bit beyond the standard ones are easily built by our team here. We have a custom reporting team that will take your requests, and if the custom report hasn't already been built, we can build it for you for a pretty minimal fee. And when I say minimal, I mean a lot of these reports that we're building will cost you less than $100 one time to build, and then you have it in this little drop-down menu accessible forever in the future whenever you want to run them. We've already built a lot of these reports in QFloors, or I should say we've built a lot of these custom reports already for our current customer base. If you come into our support login, you can actually find those under our QReporter library, as you can see right here. Okay, and this will show you the current list of custom reports that we've already generated, where you can see a preview of what it would look like to give you kind of an idea. But you'll notice we have different invoice or proposal templates, job profitability reports, labor reports, purchase orders. So this doesn't only apply to, financial statements, like I mentioned, or invoices or proposals for customers, but also if you want a purchase order to look a specific or a certain way as required by a vendor, or your work order to look a special way for your installer instead of what the standard QFloors system produces. All of these things we can really move around and customize. In a lot of cases, we won't even need to charge you extra because we've already built something similar and it's in this library. If it's already in here under the format you need, we can just load this into your QFloors system. But if something really custom needs to be done, we'll take one that we've built that's really similar from this list, make the tweaks that we need to for it to match your specifications, and boom, you've got a custom report that's accessible all the time in QFloors. I've been told before or heard our CFO, Trent, say that if QFloors has the data in the system somewhere, as long as that data that you're wanting to push onto a report is somewhere in QFloors, that really a report can be produced under a format that you want, subtotaled how you want it or however. But if it's in here, we can do it essentially. So we can do just about anything you can imagine, is like I say, as long as the system is tracking those metrics and provide any reporting you need, which makes QReporter really, like I say, probably our most popular add-on tool. You can call us if you have any additional questions about QReporter or want to get signed up with it. But that's all we're going to go through today.